putting himself into his comics book stories, from Wiz Comics number 81 in 1947, where he and his wife Dorothy conversed with Ibis the Invincible, to Lois Lane number 74 in 1964, where he cameos as a doctor. In 1985, Kurt Schaffenberger received the Best Comic Book Cartoonist from the National Cartoonist Society, but by the next year, both he and Curt Swan, the other stalwart Superman artist, was let go by DC. This was in line with DC's attempt to revive their comic book line for the modern age, from Frank Miller's The Dark Knight Returns to Batman to George Perez and Wonder Woman. For Superman, the decision was decided to give the reins to John Byrne, coming to DC after a successful stint at Marvel on Uncanny X-Men and the Fantastic Four, for which he would do the miniseries The Man of Steel, revamping his look and origin story. Thus, the old guard of Curt Swan and Schaffenberger were out, though they were given Action Comics number 583 in 1986, written by Alan Moore and edited by Julie Schwartz, with Swan penciling and Schaffenberger inking, as a farewell to the character. This was part of the now classic Whatever Happened to the Man of Tomorrow storyline that also appeared in Superman number 423, and is considered today as the best of Superman stories ever told, along with being an example of how to wrap up the continuity of a classic character. As for Kurt Schaffenberger, he later worked inking Mask, a licensed property, and Heroes Hotline, a wacky story by Bob Braskiskis and Stephen DeFano. Meanwhile, he and his wife Dorothy moved to Brick, New Jersey in 1989, as he was semi-retired at this point. Schaffenberger would later suffer a heart attack and be diagnosed with diabetes. Despite his health issues, he started to make public appearances at comic book conventions across the country, which afforded him a chance to meet with his old colleagues such as Curt Swan and Julie Schwartz. In 1991, he illustrated his final full comic book issue with $1 a Time, written by Joel Harris. That same year, his tryouts for Lois Lane reappeared from 1957 and were published for the first time in Comic Scene Spectacular number 7 in 1992. On September 30th of that year, they were auctioned off at Sotheby's, where they were bought by Graham Nash of the music group Crosby, Stills and Nash. He would call comic books one of America's last great art forms next to rock and roll. Also that year, Kurt Schaffenberger was featured in Eclipse Enterprises card series of famous comic book creators, appearing at number 30 of a 107 series, featuring alongside Will Eisner, Milton Caniff, and Jack Kirby. It was noted that Schaffenberger didn't think smoking was a bad influence on children, while his old foster issues started to be cataloged. In 1996, he received the Inkpot Award at the San Diego Comic-Con, and that same year he got to witness Superman and Lois Lane finally get married in both the comics and the Superman The Wedding album on December of 1996, and on the TV show Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman in October of 1996, played by Dean Cain and Terry Hatcher. Kurt would remark that love is triumphant overall. As for the comic books at the time, he wasn't fond of the Image comics, as he felt the stories were too downbeat, though he did enjoy the work of Alex Ross, especially his book Shazam! The Power of Hope, calling it beautiful stuff. His final published art appeared in July of 2000 for The Lion's Roar. Kurt Schaffenberger died on January 24, 2002, with his ashes spread in the New Jersey harbor on February 2nd in a military ceremony, organized by his son-in-law Larry Kelly, a retired Navy captain. On the table next to the urn containing his ashes was an American flag acknowledging Schaffenberger's service during World War II, and an original art from page 73 of Superman Family number 184 from 1977, acknowledging his contributions to the Man of Steel and comic books in general. Among his many accomplishments, he helped bring love and humor to Superman, something comics and the world could always use more of. I would like to thank the chief source of this episode, Hero Against the Girl, The Life and Art of Kurt Schaffenberger by Mark Foger, which also includes photos by Kathy Volsong and beautiful reprints of his art, from the work on Superman to his many Christmas and family cards he made throughout the decades. A must-read for any comic book fan. And now is September 24th, 2020, time for my favorite comic book of the week, Win by James Tynion IV from Michael Delanis, which finds Win as his compatriots journeying towards Northport for sanctuary, only to have the Bandaged Man following close behind them. Meanwhile, they end up with meeting some new allies along the way. Tynion IV continues to expand the world of the Wind as you meet some more weird bloods, or magical beings as they call them in this world, along with Wind finally making a personal confession about himself that's actually surprising how fast it came along, but it was great to see. And of course, the Bandaged Man remains one of the more intriguing and fearful villains. He is just barreling towards him, and he's completely merciless. And plus, we learn just how he is able to find Wind and everyone else like him. It's all matched with the latest is a wonderful, cartoonish yet fantastical art, which does a great job just illustrating the world and the weird bloods. And as you see, this world is start to grow outside of Pipetown. And all in all, this is easily one of my favorite new comic books to come out in recent months. So yeah, definitely pick it out. Win, just a great comic book reading in. So yeah, Win number 4. If you're in the comic book store lately. And I also want to give time to promote my friends, the Mosers, James and Jessica, on the launch of their Fall Horsemen YouTube and video channel. Anyone that knows James and Jessica Moser, they are big into horror fans, and they just started what they call the Fall Horsemen, which is a celebration of all things horror, from haunts, candy, movies, and so forth. And he's already launched his first video for in line with the first day of fall, which of course is last Tuesday, in which he talks about everyone's like the classic horror films, underrated and so forth. So yeah, do give it a look up. Look up the Fall Horsemen on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and of course their YouTube channel. And yeah, give it a look. I've known them for years, and Mosers, if you want to know horror, they're the ones to go to. Great times had by all. And of course, outside of that, go out and enjoy yourself a good comic book, especially Win number 4. I've been really enjoying this series, so a great read altogether. And join me again next week when we then go into, quite frankly, a timely biography of the forgotten black golden age artist, Matt Baker. And of course, till then, go out and enjoy yourself a good comic book.